Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've had a really good question come up about fitra parenting, where it says when we say that children are naturally good, have a naturally good compass and fitra, and that we as parents also need to have tawakkul. How does that resonate when we see them taking wrong turns, lying about wudu and praying, making wrong friends and choices? When we choose kindness and encouragement and they don't budge, and you feel you're being tested for how serious you are and regularly need to use assertion, where is their fitra? And when you are caught in the cycle of becoming the demanding reminder, how do you connect and become the nurturing force without losing your energy to keep up with the responsibilities? Because sometimes it takes so much consciousness and concentration, one might feel depleted. Quite a complex question there. And of course, it's not entirely clear, the age group, but I would assume we're talking about perhaps the early teens by the wording, and I could be incorrect with that. So first of all, if we're looking at the behavior and the problem being the behavior, then we're not seeing the actual problem, because the actual problem is underneath that. And quite often these things have taken a while to evolve and catch us by surprise, that that we were off guard and things started to go astray, and next thing we know, we're in this situation and what's happened. So there's a few things, and really, it's such a comprehensive question. It's like almost the whole resilient parenting program is the answer, because there's so many attributes to it. Number one is that if we continue to be the constant reminder, we're not making them accountable and responsible for their own prayer, and them understanding that once they've reached puberty, that they are accountable to Allah, not to us, is part of the process. It's not something that happens overnight. You suddenly go, that's it, washing my hands of you, leave you in the hands of Allah. It is a gradual process of pulling back our constant reminders, and instead of reminding them about the prayers, we're reminding them about their responsibility to show up for Allah. So the reminder sort of changes. In terms of the lying, so we want to look at why are they lying. It could just simply be that they're ashamed that they're doing the wrong thing, and so therefore it's not like they're a compulsive liar. They've actually got a sense of shame, and that's a good thing. It's not good that they're lying, but it's a good that they still have a sense of shame, because that means that they haven't got to the point where they don't care anymore. Some of these things, and looking at them differently, help us understand it better, and also perhaps get less frustrated by the situation. The other thing is with the setting limits is, yes, we're kind, but we have to be firm. And we can only be firm if from a place inside where we feel really confident, compassionate, and calm. Just like I'm speaking to you now, it's in a very firm way. It's calm. There's no anxiousness, short sentences. And so it's things like, you need to stop the game and go and pray. You're about to miss Asr prayer. In that kind of way. It's not like, honey, make sure you pray Asr before it runs out. It's not getting demanding, like in a frustrated tone. And it's not in a pleading tone, like, will you please just pray on time? It's a very firm, neutral tone of, it's time to pray. So most of the time now, my 14-year-old son is doing it on his own. But sometimes I see that he gets distracted because he's 14. And so I will just walk past and I'll be able to say to him, hey, Asr is about to end. Have you prayed? And if he hasn't, he jumps straight up because he's now become responsible. I've handed that responsibility over to him, but I still, show that compassion by those reminders. And I'm not like a helicopter making sure that he's prayed, but I'm still keeping tabs on things and noticing when he probably hasn't moved since the last prayer time, and that therefore he probably hasn't prayed. Also, if he's been in situations where it might have been difficult to pray, I often check in. So it's about finding that balance. If we become nagging all the time, then they don't take responsibility, and they also get fed up with being nagged by us. And yes, if we are like having to be constantly vigilant and constantly on their tails, it is exhausting and we do get depleted. And so that's why this balance is important. However, the first and foremost thing is to look at our relationship with our child. How is our child doing? Are they feeling connected with us? Are we able to communicate with them at other times? Are they talking to us? Are they letting us in? Or are they avoiding us? Or are they pushing back against us? All of these are clues of how the relationship is. So if they're pushing back or avoiding, it means the relationship needs some care. And we can't really correct them without connecting first. And so focusing on building that relationship with them and that rapport with them, having open and honest conversations with them. So my son went through a little patch recently where he decided that he was now old enough to make his own decisions where he was going without telling me. It was a thought he had and he put into action, and something that I didn't really appreciate. And it happened a few times, and a conversation with him along the lines of, you realize that the more you do this, and I keep finding out that you're not communicating with me, the more you lose my trust. And the more you lose my trust, the less flexible I'm going to be about the things that you want to do. And so it's only going to harm you if you keep going down this path. You need to keep me informed. You need to find out if it's okay before you decide to do something. And that was the reality of it, because it is the reality of it. We do lose our trust if we keep finding out that they're doing things behind our back. And so just explaining that helped him come back on track, because he didn't want to lose the freedoms that I had given him, because I'm helping him learn by giving him a bit more rope so that he can extend himself a bit more, but it's within reason. And as he proves himself reliable, then of course he gets more rope, right? He can go further. He can make more choices himself. But it's a gradual process, and it's done instinctively as you see them making good choices. While they're in this space of making the wrong choices, the first step is you've got to make that connection with them, have that relationship with them, so you can have those conversations where it is a heart-to-heart conversation. It's not an ego-to-ego conversation. So that's the best I can do for that question. It's multi-layered, and really the resilient parenting program is the answer to that question, because it's multi-layered. It's not a simple question. And yes, their good self is inside, and we can uncover it through connection and through building a trusting relationship with them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.